Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you guys can hear me on Zoom land. Welcome to the Honpa Hongwanji Mission of Hawaii Triple Celebration Buddhist Education Series. My name is Reverend Blaine Nakasone Sakata, and I'll be your MC for today. Now, please remember to mute your microphone when you're not speaking, and that this online seminar is being recorded, so please turn your cameras on and off at your own leisure. Professor Nasu will share his first presentation for 60 minutes, followed by a Q&A. And during the Q&A, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. Okay, it is my honor to introduce today's lecturer, Professor Eisho Nasu. Dr. Eisho Nasu is a professor of Shin Buddhist Studies at Ryukoku University in Kyoto, Japan. A former assistant professor at the Institute of Buddhist Studies at the Graduate Theological Union in Berkeley, California. He received his PhD in 1996 from the Graduate Theological Union in Berkeley, studying the institutional history of Japanese Tendai Buddhism, focusing on the life and works of Jie Daishi Ryogen. And his current research and teaching interests are history of Pure Land Buddhist thought, Shin Buddhist thought, history and thought, pardon me, and works of Shinran. He is currently serving as the Dean of Graduate School of Practical Shin Buddhist Studies at Ryukoku University. And without further ado, I would like to pass the mic over to Professor Nasu, as today's topic is significance of establishment of Jodo Shinshu tradition. Hi, Sensei Dozo.
Aloha. Thank you for joining the lecture this afternoon. Here in Japan, it's still in the morning. I'm sitting in my comfortable office at the Ryukoku's Omiya campus. And yeah, first time I get the invitation from Tomioka sensei about this lecture series, I got excited. Oh, okay, I can go to Hawaii, but it turned out to be easy way. I don't have to go, but I wish I can wear this and the lace and then be with you in Hawaii. But sitting in my office and giving a lecture is not bad. so today, this is a part of the lecture series, but the assignment given to me was talk about the significance of the establishment of Jodo Shinshu tradition, which is a big topic. But I like to, and also this is like exactly 800 years since the establishment of Jodo Shinshu tradition, which is goes back to year 1224. So, and the year 1224 is considered as the establishment of Jodo Shinshu tradition, and we want to. I'd like to share some of my views with you to understand its significance and the background of the meaning of significance of this particular year. It leads us to appreciate the teaching that we are able to hear today. And it also give us a moment of reflection on the Nembutsu that has been transmitted. The assignment given to me on this lecture is supposed to talk about the background and circumstances of when the tradition was established. And the second assignment was the uniqueness of the position of Jodo Shinshu as it is compared to various other Buddhist sects and traditions, right? And one of the most interesting, uniqueness of Jodo Shinshu tradition, we don't really, depending on the monastic lineage to transmit the teaching. Instead, we have more or less a flat institutional system but still be able to transmit the teaching. And what's the origin of the uniqueness of Jodo Shinshu tradition? And but an official view of year 1224, now, according to the tradition of Jodo Shinshu Hongwanji, the year 1224 is marked as the establishment of Jodo Shinshu traditions, exactly 800 years ago. But it's interesting that for Shinran Shonin's family, it was also the year in which they celebrate the birth of their youngest daughter, Kakushinni. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to talk about the Kakushinni and how, significance of Kakushinni to the Hongwanji tradition. And Kakushinni, probably Kakushinni was not very well known comparing with Shinran, because Yuien or Kakushinni's mother, Eshinni, right? But in reality, Kakushinni is the person who was instrumental in supporting Shinran's propagation, and she looked after him in Kyoto until his death, and she organized the construction to Shinran's Muslim that's laying the foundation for the establishment of a Hongwanji tradition. Right. But looking back to the year 1224, it was very, very also time of political turbulence. And it was only 3 years before, like 1221, retired Emperor Gotoba has suffered major defeat against the warriors in Kamakura. It was interesting that it was Gotoba who in 1207, if you are familiar with Jodo Shinshu history, he is the person who prompted the persecution of the Nembutsu movement led by Honen, and resulting in the exile of Honen Shonin and his disciples, including Shinran. Right? So Gotoba was the one who initiated the persecution, and that's how Shinran going to Kanto area, right? But now, in 1221, he lost the Jokyu disturbance to the forces of Kamakura shogunate. If you are familiar with Japanese history, that's a big thing and a power shift. And finally, Kamakura shogunate grabbed the control over the administration in Kyoto too. And then Gotoba was exiled to Oki Island. And in 1224, Shinran at the age of 52, as it's mentioned in the Kyogyo Shinshu, he calling himself a disciple of Honen, and he was composing the Kyogyo Shinshu while he was living in Eastern Japan. But then there, at this stage in his life, he also declared himself to be a practitioner who was neither monk nor layperson, and Hiso Hisoku. Right? So reflecting on these historical events that form the background to Shinran's life, as well as his own personal developments, in this presentation, I'd like to consider the significance of the establishment of the Jodo Shinshu tradition by re-examining the notion of lineage, or more or less like a lack of lineage, or in the Pure Land, particularly Jodo Shinshu tradition, and the also role played by Shinran's youngest daughter Kakushinni and her contribution to the establishment of a Hongwanji tradition. So if you study Buddhism, you all knows that the concept of Buddhist monastic lineage, you have to have a continuous line of transmission of the teaching from master to disciple. And however, Shinran Shonin did not use the idea of lineage based on the master-disciple relationship when he selected even like a seven masters of Jodo Shinshu tradition. If you look at the seven masters relationship, only Dao Cho and Shandao has the master-disciple relationship, right? It's all not really linked together by the so-called monastic lineage, right? Instead, Shinran Shonin selected these seven Kyoran masters based on his experience of awakening of Shinjin through the guidance of his master Honen, of course. And Renjo Shonin, as you know, later in his Gobunsho letters, said, what is taught in the tradition of Shinran Shonin is that the entrusting heart is the essential. But transmission of teaching is not really depending on the master-disciple relationship. And go back to the historical background. So why is 1224 is identified as a year of establishment of Jodo Shinshu tradition? And the one answer is in 1224, in Japanese calendar, it's called the Gennin Gannen, the first year of Gennin era. And it is identified as the year of establishment because Shinran Shonin mentioned this particular year in the Kyogyo Shinsho. And to identify that, like he is living in the last Dharma age or Mappo period, and when sentient beings are no longer capable of practice and attain realization in accordance with Buddha teaching while living in this world of suffering. So this is the translation, the part of the text. Shinran Shonin mentioned about 1224. Said, considering the teaching concerning the three Dharma ages, we find that the date of the Tathagata's parinirvana falls on the 53rd year, the year water and slash monkey in Chinese calendar system of the reign of King Mu, Chinese king, the fifth emperor of the Chou dynasty. From that year of water slash monkey to the first year of Gennin era, which is 1224, it is 2,173 years. And based on the auspicious Kalpa Sutra, the Benevolent King Sutra, and the Nirvana Sutra, we find that we are already 673 years into the last Dharma age. And everybody is kind of, all the historians and the doctrinal study people are scratching their heads and why he really picked this particular date. So he said, we are already into the last Dharma age in 673 years, which is not very, it's not like if it's like a 700 years or 500 years or something like that, it makes more sense. But why he has to pick this particular year to count the date? So, but that's very mysterious. But in Meiji 9, 1876, when the four Shinshu denomination, Nishi Hongwanji, Higashi Hongwanji, and Senjuji, and Kinshokuji, when they, that's the only ninth year in the Meiji restoration, and the government asked them to turn in the documents to say, oh, when your Buddhist school started. So in order to file the report to the government, including Nishu Hongwanji, they adapt this first year of Gennin, 1224, they found in the Jodo Shinshu as the year of establishment of Jodo Shinshu tradition, assuming Shinran Shonin had completed the text on the year while he was living in the Inada of Hitachi no Kuni, present Ibaraki Prefecture. However, according to the study of Shinran's own manuscript of the Kyogyo Shinshu, it became clear that the Shinran did not finish the Kyogyo Shinshu in 1224 because it's clearly Shinran, according to this study on the physical manuscript by Shinran, he continued revising the text even after he returned to Kyoto, most likely in his 60s. And it was when Shinran was 75, 1247, there is a record that when at last he allowed one of his disciples, Sonren, to make a copy of the text. Right? So Shinran was clearly working on the text of Jodo Shinshu around like 1224, which is obvious because he marked the date in the Jodo Shinshu, but he has yet to finish writing in the year 1224. So then what's the significance of the first year, again, of Gennin, 1224 for Shinran? So it is not really clearly stated in the Kyogyo Shinshu why Shinran picked this particular year to identify that he is living in the last Dharma age. And according to Japanese historians, there could be two possible reasons for Shinran's choice of the year 1224. One very plausible reason is that was the year 1224 was the 13th anniversary of the death of his master Honen Shonin. Right? 13th anniversary is one of the major time for the major memorial service. Right? And also another indirect evidence proposed by the historians for the year 1224 was the year Tendai monks at the Mount Hiei filed a new petition criticized Senju Nembutsu practice. Now it's called the Enryakuji Sojo. Then 3 years later, which triggered severe persecution of Nembutsu followers again in the Jogen era when the woodblock of Honen's Senjakushu was confiscated by these warrior monks and burned at the Enryakuji on Mount Hiei. So these historians are going through all the documents and records, and they found these two indirect evidence. But to be honest, these theories are also these are indirectly supported, mentioned retired Emperor Gotoba and 2 of his sons, Tsuchimikado and Juntoku. Right. So there's something to do with these political turbulence which was going on as a background in Japanese history. And as we know, as mentioned in the postscript, the retired Emperor Gotoba was the one who led the persecution of Honen Senju Nembutsu practice in 1207. And then Shinran was exiled. Because of that, Shinran was exiled to Echigo, present Niigata Prefecture. And his master, Honen, was not allowed to return to Kyoto until 1211, a year before he passed away. So that's what Shinran mentions in the postscript of the Kyogyo Shinsho, right, about the Nembutsu persecution in 1207. The monks of Shakyamuni's tradition in the various temples, however, lack clear insight into the teaching and are ignorant of the distinction between true and provisional, and scholars of the Chinese classics in the capital are confused about practices and wholly unable to differentiate right and wrong paths. Sounds like he's really mad. And thus, scholar monks of Hofukuji presented a petition to the retired emperor, which is Gotoba no In, and in the first part of the second month, 1207. And there is another mention about the Tsuchimikado In here too. This is Gotoba's son. And he continued, he was really, sounds like he's really upset about that situation. And the emperor and his ministers acting against the Dharma and violating human rectitude became enraged and embittered. As a result, Master Genku, the eminent founder who had enabled the true essence of the Pure Land to spread vigorously, and the number of his followers without receiving any deliberation of their crimes was summarily sentenced to death or dispossessed of their monkhood, given secular names and consigned to distant banishment. And actually, there's a record, seems to be four opponents, disciples were murdered by the or assassinated and unlawfully. Then here, Shinran declared he was so disappointed about both monastic tradition and the government persecution, and hence I am now neither a monk nor one in worldly life. For this reason, I have taken the term Toku, stubble-haired, as my name. Master Genku and his disciples being banished to the provinces in different directions past a period of 5 years in exile. Right. So he wants to keep this in record and should continue. But on the 17th day of the 11th month, 1211, then during the reign of the emperor Sadonoin, Genku received an imperial pardon and returned to Kyoto, and thereafter he lived in the capital at Otani, north of Toribeno in the western foothill of Higashiyama area. And then in 1212, during the midday of the 25th day of the first month, he passed away. The auspicious signs, too numerous to record here, may be found in his biography. So he really wants to keep this the persecution against the Honen's disciples, Honen himself and his disciples and himself too. So the interesting thing is here it says Sadonoin, one of his son, Gotoba's son, named as Sadonoin. That means Shinran knows this emperor, Gotoba's son, has already been exiled to Sado. So, which is happened after the Jokyu uprising. It is kind of an irony of history, but all these three emperors, Gotoba and Tsuchimikado and Juntoku, exiled. And then they died in the exiled islands. And Gotoba was exiled in Oki Island, which is very, very far away from the capital. I will show you the picture, map later. And it's not just the Gotoba who directly tried to fight against the Kamakura shogunate, but two of his sons, both of them were also emperor or retired emperor. They also exiled, and none of them are allowed to come back to Kyoto, and they all died in exile. Right? And so while living in the eastern region, and which is fairly closer to Kamakura, this is the map. This is the Oki Island. Gotoba was exiled in this island, and then he never be able to come back. And Juntoku was exiled to Sado, which is also known as the Nichiren once exiled to this island. And Nichiren was allowed to come back, but Juntoku Tenno remained in this island rest of his life. Right? And also, Tsuchimikado was originally assigned to Tosa here, but was ended up in our Shikoku Island, which is fairly close to Kyoto, but Tsuchimikado is also, he was not allowed to come back to Kyoto. And three of them all died in exile. Right? And during the time, Shinran was somewhere around here, near Kamakura. So while living in the eastern region, which is very closer to Kamakura, Shinran, while he was writing Jodo Shinshu, he must have heard the news of Jokyu War and the exile of the retired emperors, which happened 3 years before 1224. So when he was completing the postscript of Jodo Shinshu, he should know that what happened to them, right? Which I believe must be reflected on the following passages in the postscript, especially the final quote from the Garan Sutra. Right? If you read the Kyoge Shinsho beginning to the end, toward the end of the, almost very end of the Kyoge Shinsho, there's very interesting passages and quotations. So mindful solely of profundity of Buddha's benevolence, I pay no heed division of others. May those who see here and hear this work be brought either through the cause of reverently embracing the teaching or through the condition of others' doubt and slander of it, to manifest Shinjin within the power of the vow and reveal the incomparable fruits of enlightenment in the land of peace. Right? And then the final quotation, it's the very last passages you find in the Kyoge Shinshu. It said he quoted a verse of Gan Sutra. It said, on seeing a bodhisattva perform various practices, and some give rise to a good mind, and others a mind of evil. But the bodhisattva embraces them all. So it seems Shinran was, talking about the fate of these emperors, especially Gotoba and two of his Gotoba, who really produced the, harmed the opponent and his disciples, and Shinran has to leave Kyoto, but later they themselves has to also exile to the remote areas in Japan and never be able to come back, right? So, and Shinran was writing Kyoge Shinshu in that kind of a situation, right? And the interesting thing is, Gotoba, who led the persecution of opponents Menbutsu practice. But later, after he got exiled especially, he became like devout followers of Nembutsu practice. And then that's a historical irony. So while in exile, probably out of remorse, Gotoba was said that he became a devout Nembutsu practitioner, and he composed a Chinese verse titled Mujou Koshiki on impermanence in Oki. And this Chinese verse composed by Gotoba later adapted in Zonkaku's writing. Zonkaku, son of Kakunyo who established the Hongwanji tradition. Zonkaku read this Mujou Koshiki and cited in his one of Dharma words of Zonkaku, Zonkaku Hopo. And then it's also interesting, Rennyo Shonin, inspired by Zonkaku's writing, and then he composed the Hakkotsu no Gobunsho. So probably you're familiar with the Rennyo's Gobunsho on white ashes, but it was Rennyo was inspired by Zonkaku, but Zonkaku adapted the passages from Gotoba's poetry. So, and as we so far examine, these various historical events might have related to Shinran's remark on the year 1224 in the Jodo Shinshu. However, it's all indirect evidences, and there are not enough clue to identify what was the reason why Shinran invoked the year 1224 to mark that he's living in the last Dharma age as an Nembutsu practitioner who was neither monk nor layperson. But reflecting on Shinran's personal life, however, we can find one like a significant life event happened when he was at the age of 52. And Shinran was 52, and his wife Eshinni was like a 41, in the early 40s. And he and his wife, Eshinni's youngest daughter, Kakushinni, was born. That's the what happened to Shinran's family in 1224. And it's also interesting that Shinran and Eshinni, before Kakushinni, they already have six or five. It's not exactly clear. And three or four sons and definitely two more daughters by the time. And by the time Shinran moved back to Kyoto when he's in the 60s, everyone but Kakushinni most likely living independently, and I think they all living in the Echigo area, except the notorious eldest son, Zenran. Right? So now Shinran and his family has Zenran and Kakushinni. And early on, Zenran seems to be most like popular, or Zenran was assisting the propagation of Shinran's teaching in Kanto area. But as we all know, later disowned by Shinran himself in 1256 for advocating heretical teaching, which he claimed to have received secret teaching from his father. So meanwhile, Kakushinni, when Shinran moved to Kyoto in 60s, she seems to move to Kyoto with Shinran. That time, Eshinni did not seem to go with them, and Eshinni most likely moved back to Echigo area. Shinni seems to have a fairly decent amount of property and source of income in Echigo area. Right? So Shinran moved back to Kyoto with, Kakushinni, who was still a teenage girl. It's like I'm not sure this is a proper analogy, but like moving, if you use the location in California, like living in Fresno or Lodi, and then all of a sudden she was able to move to New York City. So it must be a big thing for her. So, and while she was helping Shinran in Kyoto, this is about the Kakushinni's life in Kyoto. She, as for to make her living, she was serving an aristocratic family of Koga Michiteru. Right? He was a very famous poet. And also interesting, the master Kakushinni served was a friend of Gotoba and who was in touch with him even after Gotoba exiled to Okiran Island. And then Kakushinni married with Hino Hirotsuna. So then Shinran's family connected with Hino family again, right? And after Hino Hirotsuna passed away, she returned to Shinran's household and then helped taking care of Shinran until he passed away, right? And after Shinran Shonin passed away in 1262, she was already 41, but she remarried with Ononomiya Zennen. It was known as the devout follower of Shinran Shonin in 1264. And when Zennen passed away, Kakushinni inherited his property in Higashiyama area in Kyoto. There, she established the Shinran Shonin's mausoleum. And then she turned it into Otani Byodo with the financial support of Shinran's followers in the Kanto area. And there, Shinran Shonin statue was enshrined. That's the original of where the Hongwanji tradition started. So it seems to be Kakushinni was in touch with the followers in the Kanto area and he was managing the household of Shinran Shonin. So what Kakushinni decided was she decided to donate the whole land title to the followers in Kanto, and then in exchange, Kakushinni was appointed by the followers in Kanto as the caretaker of the Otani Byodo, which is the beginning of the Hongwanji. So the picture is not very clear, sorry, but so then Otani Byodo founded as a mausoleum for Shinran. And then Kakunyu Shonin re-established this Otani Byodo as the Hongwanji in 1321. Right? But we must remember that without the Kakushinni's decision to found a Shinran's mausoleum and entrust it to Shinran's followers, there is no Hongwanji tradition as we know today. It's a very crucial thing. Kakushinni, when she established the mausoleum, she didn't keep it with her or her family. She donated to the, entrusted to the followers in Kanto, and as a, and then appointed herself as caretaker. Right? So later on, Renyo Shonin was remembered that he often said, 俺は本当に持たれたり、I'm totally depending on our followers. Right? So there, when they established the Hongwanji, it's not started as based on the master-disciple relationship whatsoever. It's they 革新に called herself, I'm simply a caretaker of the tradition. Right? So in addition to providing institutional foundation of Hongwanji or the Jodo Shinshu tradition, 革新に also help us understand how Shinran Shonin's teaching can be transmitted without depending on the traditional Buddhist notion of lineage based on master-disciple relationship. I like to cite some passages from the letter of Shinni. So this letter of Shinni preserved in Nishihonganji and first became open to public by Washio Kyodo in Taisho 10, 1921. And we all remember, call this a letter of Shinni because it was written by Shinran's wife Shinni and was written between 1263, a year after Shinran passed away, and till the last one is written in 1268. But we often forget that this was addressed to Kakushinji. So that's the part of the correspondence between Eshinni and Kakushinji, right? So Eshinni wrote the letter because Kakushinji asked her a question and then exchange. Unfortunately, Kakushinji's part of letter has not, preserved. But the one who, Kakushinji who received the Eshinni's letter, kept it because that was very, very important, right? So, but we see this, we often read this Eshinni's letter just as Eshinni's words, but we need to also re-examine this as this is the correspondence between Eshinni and Kakushinji, right? So there's some yeah, it's interesting that, but historians often rely on these letters written by Shinni, which is written soon after Shinran Shonin passed away as the proof of the historical evidence of Shinran's existence. However, as shown in this letter, we can see the essence of Shinran's teaching clearly and accurately described in colloquial Japanese without even using any kanji characters, and and also they never use the difficult to understand doctrinal jargons. But simple Japanese, they Eshinni express the Shinran Shonin, essence of Shinran Shonin's teaching and given to his daughter Kakushin. So we can read this as these letters as a proof, not simply the proof of the existence of historical existence of Shinran Shonin, but this is we can read this as a proof that Shinran Shonin's teaching can be transmitted within a lay household between mother and daughter, and so this is like it's all written in Hirakana. It's the reproduction of Eshin Nimonjo. And one of the letters said, this is Eshinni's instruction to Kakushinni, how So it seems that the Kakushinni, when Shinran Shonin passed away, there is no like a miraculous or thing happened or auspicious sign appeared as Shinran was mentioned about the when Honen Shonin passed away. And it seems to be some people around Shinran Shonin was quite disappointed. And then maybe Shinran's teaching was not that uncertain as they thought. But so Kakushinni seems to wrote a letter to Eshinni and asking Eshinni why my father at the time of my father's death, there is no auspicious sign of any miraculous thing happens. And then Eshinni wrote her back, and the teaching received from him, which is Shinran, Shinran Shonin firmly embraced was that there is only one path leading over samsara in the next life for both good and evil person alike. People would say all types of things he was headed for benighted rebirth. Right? So some people even doubt that the Shinran Shonin has born into the Pure Land. Right? But according to response to Kakushinni's question to Eshinni wrote, whenever people would say such thing, Shinran would reply, I am one who believes that I would go along with him. This is Honen Shonin. And since from realm to realm and from reverse to reverse, I lost already. Thus, you should have no doubt concerning Shinran's birth in the Pure Land, however his death may have been. Right? With regard to this same matter, I have heard that our son, Matsukata, also present at his death, and one of Shinran's son was there when Shinran Shonin was passed away. Right? And it is a great joy for me now how strong the bond is between parent and child. And Eshinni convey if Shinran were there, well, Shinran is the person who passed away, but he said, I don't worry about seeing this auspicious sign, which doesn't matter as long as your Shinjin is firm. And also, and Eshinni at the last line, say it is a great joy for me to know how strong the bond is between parent and child. It is like this letter is written in the context of ordinary lay family household. Right? And she never invoked any like a monastic authority or lineage or any, right? And also, there's another passage citation from Eshin's letter, but and we can see Eshinni wrote to Kakushinni how Eshinni's expression of joy of Shinjin here. And it said also, I'd be very glad to hear what your child are doing. And I especially want to hear about your eldest child. Indeed, how I wish there could be one more time for me to see you and for you to see me while I am now in this world. Here, just like a, conversation between the mother and the daughter. And the mother was talking about the grandchildren, right? But and after that, Eshinni's expression of joy of Shinjin followed. I myself will be going to the Pure Land paradise. It's translated as the paradise because it's a translation of the word Gokuraku. Pure Land very soon. Everything can be seen without any darkness. So be sure to say the Nembutsu and come to the paradise or Gokuraku to be with me. Indeed, when we go to the Pure Land and meet again, nothing whatsoever will be in darkness. Right? Here, it's like a mother talking about the grandchildren and addressing the letter to her daughter. And clearly show that the expression of joy of Shinjin, which is taught by Shinran Shonin. So the concept of Buddhist monastic lineage often simply means the continuous line of transmission of teaching from master to disciple. However, as we see how the Eshinni and Kakushinni received it, Shinran did not use the idea of such lineage when he selected the patriarchs of Jodo Shinshu tradition. It seems to be disregarding the idea of lineage in the Renyo Shonin, as we all know, in his letter, Shinran Shonin teaching is the interesting heart is essential and nothing more, nothing less. And as we see, Eshinni beautifully wrote to Kakushinni that without using any doctrinal jargons and not even in single kanji characters to address the very essence of Shinran Shonin's teaching. And, this is probably only just that's only thing we can read this because it was preserved in Hongwanji, luckily. But they might have, have another lots of correspondence between two of them. But just reading these letters left to us, we can see how the Shinran Shonin's teaching can be transmitted without depending on these monastic authorities or master-disciple relationship. But we can, within this very simple correspondence, personal correspondence between mother and daughter. And it's very fortunate that we had a proof that the Shinran Shonin's teaching can be transmitted like this. And that's probably how we still have Jodo Shinshu tradition here and now. So we still like why 1224, go back to the historical things, issues, when Shinran Shonin never really clarified or clearly said why he picked 1224, Gennin Gannen, to mark the date he counted as the counting like a point to how he lives in the last Dharma age, and also try to contextualize these historical events around the Gotoba who persecuted the Nembutsu, but he ended up in exile and died. But we may look into, if we look into Shinran Shonin's personal life, that's the year when his youngest daughter was born, and she ended up, or she became the very person who started the Hongwanji tradition. So there's still we have lots of questions and something we may need to clarify, but at least between we are lucky that we have the evidence that proof in Eshin's letter that Shinran Shonin's teaching can be transmitted, like within the lay household, with no without depending on these institutional authority. Of course, I'm not really negating the the institutional existence of institutional authority within the Hongwanji tradition. But as Honen Renju Shonin said, for the Shinran Shonin's tradition, entrusting heart is essential and nothing more and nothing less. As long as we keep this in our mind, we can continue this tradition. So we take a short break.
Thank you, Professor Nasu. And so I guess we'll take maybe a 5-minute break.
Okay, sure.
And then at 3:05, if everybody could come back, and then we'll start our Q&A portion. So first of all, thank you, Professor Nasu, for the wonderful talk. And now we'd like to move on to our Q&A portion. And so if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. This is from Pete Doctor. The question is, what is the significance, if any, for emphasizing neither master nor layperson, meaning another layer and context of meaning and point? Aloha.
Okay. Thank you for the very good question. Because we're so into Jodo Shinshu tradition, but if you look at the other Buddhist tradition, without these master-disciple relationship and lineage has to be handed down through the line, and the lay household, the lay persons there, or supporter for this transmission, right? But in Shinran Shonin tradition, since he declared he is neither monk nor layperson, and then he's known that he's the one who, but then there's monks. It's not unusual to have, family, but they never claimed that they are my family, and we transmit the teaching as a monk. So but it's interesting that Shinran Shonin declared himself as he is neither monk nor layperson, and Eshin is my wife, and he has children, right? And then it's not just having a family, but if you look at the Kakushinni and Eshinni, he seems to be transmitted. Transmission of the teaching was also entrusted to the within the lay household, or in the family, right? So it's not really part of Buddhist tradition that teaching can be transmitted. Authentic teaching can be transmitted between mother and daughter. So, since we are so used to Jodo Shinshu tradition, if we take it as very, very, it's common, but looking at, if we put it in the context of other Buddhist traditions, it's very, very unusual and unique, I believe. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Well, thank you, Nasu Sensei. We also have another comment and question by Donna Higashi. It says, "Thank you, Dr. Nasu. I learned so much from your talk and PowerPoint. I kept on hearing master disciple and did wonder how the passage of the Hongwanji could be with the Otani family."
Oh, okay. That's another interesting questions. But because it was passed down as an Otani family, that's very, very unusual thing. But so we also should remember that, you know, now the Otani families, I'm not really criticizing anything, but it's by the man usually has to be the, Monshu and the line of transmission within the Hongwanji is based on the patriarchal. But it was when it's originated, you think about Eshinni and Kakushinni, it was all by the women who transmitted properly the Shinran Shonin's teaching. Uh, because of the socio-cultural background in the medieval Japanese history, uh, until the late Kamakura period, uh, women are allowed to become the head person in the household. But since the time of Kakunyo Shonin and later Nanpokcho period and into Muromachi period, it's turned into all the, if you examine the court documents, women are not allowed to become a head of the household anymore. That's a big shift between Kamakura and Muromachi, um, but the very reason, that it was uh, handed passage of the Hongwanji run, through the Otani family, it's family, right? So that's very unique uh, to the within the Buddhist tradition.
Mhm.
I don't know how I did.
Oh, thank you, Sensei. We have a comment and as well as a question from Kamuro Sensei. It says, "Thank you, Professor Nasu, for your lecture. At this stage in his life, he also declared himself to be a practitioner who was neither monk nor layman. For this reason, I have taken the term toku, or stubbled-haired, as my name." And so his question is, did Shinran Shonin take the term toku as his name in 1207 or 1224? According to the Tanisho, it reads that after his exile, he signed his name Gutoku Shinran.
Yes. I believe it was in 1207. First, he was, if he likes or not, he was defrocked, and officially he was out of the registration confirmed by the Tendai school. So he is not the monk anymore. And then it's interesting. Toku is the word which is like it's not somewhere between the bald hair and layperson. Um, and so when he the exiled, he exiled. It's interesting that medieval Japanese legal system, monks cannot be exiled. So they have to defrock them and then given the uh, name, or not as the ordained name. So Shinran said that he was called Fuji no Yoshizane with family name. If you are monk, there is no family name attached. and then he exiled. But was also but he was pardoned together with Honen 1211, right? And then he can be going back to the monastic order, right? But then he decided, I'm not going back, right? So I believe neither monk uh, is forced uh, against, but neither monk nor layperson was his choice, most likely after he pardoned by the government. So, and then also that's the declarations that I'm not going back to these monastic traditions. And I'm independent. And back then, probably he has already married with the Eshinyan. He already had family, and he want to declare that I'm doing Buddhism as a house family man.
Great, thank you. We got a question from Reverend Jan Youth. Her question is, how does Hongwanji maintain orthodoxy of theology without a Dharma lineage?
So, Dharma lineage, he putting in discussed in Jodo Shinshu is all based on his readings in text and commentaries. But um, it's interesting, he never really invoked the continuation of lineage from person to person in the Jodo Shinshu. And only authority he depending on was the words of the masters he selected. So, but on the other hand, in the medieval or especially the Muromachi period and later on Edo period, uh, it's not the democracy, it's a feudalistic society. And in order to maintain the institutional organization, you have to adapt these line of transmission. But it's a unique thing happened to Hongwanji tradition or Jodo Shinshu tradition. Other Buddhist tradition, the authority is all depending on master-disciple relationship. But within this Jodo Shinshu tradition, uh, it's family, line of family. So we may, misunderstood that these are, or transmission these are family, just it's only the previous families can hand it over, but it's not like that. Any family can, that's the one of the symbol that Hongwanji family can hand it down their line of teaching within the household life of, and any Jodo Shinshu household can transmit the teaching within their the as a part of their family life. That's a big departure from the traditional Buddhist monastic system because technically, if you want to become a transmitter of the teaching, you have to leave the household, right? As a monk. So, but and the Jodo Shinshu tradition, it's completely merged transmission of teaching and ordinary family life can be coexist.
Thank you. We have another question from Pete Doctor. It says, do you have contemporary examples of evidence that we are indeed living in a time of Mappo?
Okay. Ah, so Mappo, we often take it as really totally bad things, right? But On the other hand, Shinran Shonin does not really seems to take the Mappo as such a depressing. Of course, it's not good, but uh, on the other way to probably Shinran Shonin decided to open to the non-monastic transmission system. He said, he can do it because it's Mappo. If it's not Mappo, you have to leave house and become a monk. And but you know, as you see, we are living in the Mappo. So this is the Mappo's way to transmit the true teaching. So, and if we are not living in a Mappo period, probably all the Buddhist scripture is kept in the monastic storage, and the lay person are not even allowed to take a look at it. Because if you go to the bookstore, you can read most of the Buddhist scriptures, even in English translation. And I shouldn't emphasize that, but that's interesting. That's what the beauty of Mappo Buddhist in living in the Mappo period. Of course, you can't just pick and choose whatever you like, which may not be great, but at least teaching of Buddha is really open to public because it is not you know only available for the monks and living in the monastery.
Mhm. Thank you. And we have another question by Baba Sensei, Reverend Baba. It says, how many did Shinran Shonin have, and if his children, and what did they do?
Hmm. Uh, okay, there is some books by the Imai Masaharu sensei, but uh, he seems to have five or six child, and uh, so we know Kakushinni and Zenran is very clearly a part of the Shinshu's tradition and mentioned in historical records. Other children are not uh, really, we don't know the evidences, but in Eshin's letter, he mentioned about the name of the son and daughter too. But the birth date of them, not all of them are clear, but we can tell how old the Kakushin was because of the Eshin's letter. Eshin was talking about her life with Shinran Shonin, and then the one part, at that time you were 8 years old. So, and but other children's it seems to be independent, already become independent while they are living in Kanto, and they most likely are living in the Echigo area, where the Ishini supposed to later live with them. And then some name of the place in some villages, they named after some of the children's, which I can't really there is a book about the Shinran Shonin's 家族 family in Shinran Shonin, but that's all legendary records, so we can't really confirm by the historical records. But as we can read the Eshin's letter, his one of our son or Shinran's son visited him while he's at the moment of his death, right? So we don't really know also what they're doing, but it seems to be just many of them the women are married with somebody else and keep the race household. Also, we don't really know the occupation what they are on, but at least Zenran was helping Shinran and other Buddhist priests. Of course, later on he was disowned. But okay.
Okay, well, thank you, Nasu Sensei. It is about 3:25. Well, it is 3:25, pardon me. And so I would like to thank everybody for attending today's lecture. I hope you found it informative and meaningful. If you're interested in our organization, please visit our website through our QR code, or you can search Honpa Hongwanji Mission of Hawaii. If you have any questions about our triple celebration, please contact us at triple.celebration@honpahigh.org. Our series is scheduled monthly on Saturdays, either at 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. And please refer to our flyer for more details. Our next lecture is scheduled on Saturday, April 13th at 10 a.m. The lecturer will be Reverend Matsumi Wandra from the Orange County Buddhist Church, the Institute Buddhist Studies adjunct professor. She will talk about the theme of Jodo Shinshu teaching. Jodo Shinshu is Shinran Shonin's principal text, a collection of passages revealing the true teaching, practice, and realization of the Pure Land Way, also known as Ken Jodo Shinshu Kyogyo Shomondui. And it describes a systematic discourse of the dynamic activity of Pure Land Buddhist path, which he named the true essence of the Pure Land Way, or Jodo Shinshu. This lecture reviews and explains the contents of the general preface known as Sojo, and the chapter of True Teaching, or Kyokan, and focusing the three Pure Land Sutras and the central purport of the larger sutra. So please consider donating today, either mail or online. And let us close today's lecture by reading Shinran Shonin's word written in the preface of the Kyogyo Shinshu, which is his master work. Hard to encounter, even in many lifetimes, is the decisive cause of birth, Amida's primal vow. Hard to realize, even in myriads of kalpas, is pure Shinjin that is true and real. If you should come to realize this practice and Shinjin, rejoice at the conditions from the distant path that have brought it about. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you again for your time today. Please stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
Sure.